किसी देश की आर्थिक दशा और दिशा कैसे बदलती होगी? तब बदलती होगी जब किसी व्यक्ति का सपना और सोच मैच कर जाता होगा, जोश और जज्बे में ताकत होती होगी, कल्पनाशीलता और कर्मठता एक पटरी पर आ जाती होगी। आज बात भारत के निर्माण में लगे एक ऐसे शिल्पकार की जिसने देश में आर्थिक सुधारों में बड़ी भूमिका निभाई। नमस्कार, आप देख रहे हैं डायलॉगस और मैं हूं पवन कुमार। तो बात ऐसे व्यक्तित्व की जिन्होंने भारत की आर्थिक दशा और दिशा बदलने में अहम भूमिका निभा रहे हैं, डॉक्टर विजय केलकर की। डॉक्टर केलकर एक जाने माने अर्थशास्त्री और नीति निर्माता हैं। इनका नाम भारत के बड़े आर्थिक सुधारों से जुड़ा रहा है। उन्होंने न सिर्फ देश के में बल्कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंचों पर भी भारत की आर्थिक सोच को मजबूती प्रदान की है। शिक्षा पूरी करने के बाद अर्थनीति के क्षेत्र में कदम रखा और फिर जो काम किया उसने देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को वाकई नई दिशा दी। ये भारत सरकार के वित्त मंत्रालय में वित्त सचिव और सलाहकार रहे, 13वें वित्त आयोग के उपाध्यक्ष रहे, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर IMF यानी इंटरनेशनल मॉनिटरी फंड में कार्यकारी निदेशक के रूप में काम किया। लेकिन जिस काम ने इनको मशहूर बनाया वो है केलकर समिति। वर्ष 2002 में गठित इस समिति ने कर सुधारों पर अहम सुझाव दिए। प्रत्यक्ष और अप्रत्यक्ष करों को सरल, पारदर्शी और जनता के लिए समझने योग्य बनाने में इस समिति का बड़ा योगदान रहा। कहा जाता है इन्हीं सिफारिशों से आगे चलकर GST जैसी बड़ी आर्थिक नीति बनी। डॉक्टर विजय केलकर केवल एक अर्थशास्त्री नहीं हैं, बल्कि भारत के आर्थिक भविष्य के ऐसे विचारक हैं जिनकी सोच और सुझाव आज भी उतने ही प्रासंगिक हैं जितने पहले थे। डॉक्टर केलकर, आपका स्वागत है हमारे इस कार्यक्रम में। सर, ऐसा होता है केलकर साहब कि जब आपके जैसे विद्वान और कद्दावर किस्म के मेहमान हों बात करने के लिए अर्थशास्त्र पे, तो ये बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है ये तय करना केलकर साहब की कहाँ से शुरू की जाए और कहाँ तक बात की जाए। ये चैलेंज आज भी मेरे ख्याल से बना रहेगा, मैं जहाँ तक समझता हूँ। पर सर, बात करेंगे इस देश में सबसे जो कंटेम्प्रेरी इश्यूज़ हैं उसके लागू होने के बाद उसमें टीथिंग ट्रबल आ रहे हैं, जो टैक्स पेयर्स हैं उनकी तरफ से शिकायतें हैं। सरकार गाहे बगाहे मौके बे मौके ये भी कहती रही है कि हाँ उसमें सुधार करने की ज़रूरत है। टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर पे हम बात कर रहे हैं और देखते हैं कि कहाँ कहाँ GST में कमी बेशी की जा सकती है। तो बात उसी GST से करेंगे जो अभी कंटेम्प्रेरी पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमिक्स में जिसकी चर्चा है। सर, जो GST का रोल आउट हुआ और ख़ासकर अब जब हम इसके 8 साल के कार्यकाल पे लगभग पहुंच गए हैं, कैसे इसका आकलन करते हैं आप? सबसे पहले यही से शुरू करते हैं सर कि एक स्टॉक टेकिंग जब आप करते हैं GST पे तो कैसा पाते हैं आप?
Let me first emphasize that GST was a unique achievement of India. We must appreciate. Many other federal countries like Brazil, Australia, Canada did it after much longer time they took. People sometimes they will do 7 years. They took more than a decade. And now Brazilians want to adopt our model. So because we're latecomers, so it took time. I think we must appreciate that it's not easy to give up taxing powers. Politically, it's very difficult decision. It's not very easy for state governments to give up some of their taxing powers. But when we designed it, we called it a grand bargain. Because although state lost taxing powers of manufacturing sector, they got taxing powers on services. And modern economy, service sector is much larger, much more dynamic and growing. So in that sense, states gain. So that's how I have to explain to them, bhai, कि आपको ज्यादा टैक्सिंग पावर आ रही है because you do now tax a sector which you never taxed earlier. So that was a grand bargain which was struck between center and the state. That center gave up the monopoly of taxing services and shared with the state governments, and state government shared its power to tax manufacturers. So it was a great achievement. I think we should appreciate this. For country of continental size of this complexity, we did much faster pace than the other federal countries, and I think many of them would like to adopt our model. Having said that, when we designed it, we had much simpler proposal in our mind.
जी।
which was we were asking for only single rate of tax. Now, I mean, in our paper, we propose it could be between 12 to 14%, which will equally shared by center and state. And our estimate was, this is a sort of thumb rule analysis, that usually the tax collection is half of the GDP of that rate. In other words, if the GST rate was 14%, tax collection would be 7% of GDP. It's a rough rule of thumb. So India would have got more resources with this. And more importantly, our system, earlier system had a bias against exports, that would have gone. And India was, we always say that India was manufacturing sector is much smaller. For a very simple reason, because we were taxing manufacturing exports. Naturally, it was not growing. So GST removed the bias against manufacturing sector.
सब जो सिंगल टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर की बात करते हैं आपने, मैं एक भाषण में अभी देख रहा था पिछले साल का, आपको 2024 के मेरे ख्याल से मई जून के आसपास का, उसमें भी आपने बहुत प्रोमिनेंटली इस बात को रखा कि तो अब मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि जब इसको लागू किया गया था तब से लेकर अब तक 8 साल हो गए, बहुत गंगा में बहुत पानी बह गया, इसकी खूबी और खामियां भी हमने देख ली। कुछ ऐसे आइटम्स हैं, जैसे मान लीजिए पेट्रोलियम की बात मैं फ़िलहाल यहाँ नहीं करना चाहूँगा। सरकार को कई जगह पे रिफॉर्म्स की ज़रूरत है। कोई यूनिटी नहीं है सरकार में इस सोच पे कि वो कहते हैं कि सिंगल टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर नहीं हो सकता, अगर होगा भी तो बहुत काउंटर प्रोडक्टिव होगा और उसमें कई तरह की जटिलताएं आई, बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाएगा।
On the contrary, boss, it will simplify. Single rate will be simplified. Current system is complicated. Different rates for different products, then problem becomes classification of the issue. There's some issue. So current system can be liable for evading taxes. Everybody would like to have a tax lower than what is allowed. So it's much more complicated. Compliance costs go up.
Yeah.
And if both taxpayer suffers and the government is suffering. And we are losing taxes. For example, I'll give you an example. Today there is no tax in India on petroleum products.
Yeah.
Now what is happening? Because there are two things happening. Because there is no tax on the petroleum sector, it is not shared with the state governments. If you put surcharges and cesses and surcharges are not shareable with the state governments. So states are losing. But if you bring in GST regime, states also will gain. Because today, according to our Constitution ने provide किया है कि cess and surcharges need not be shared with state governments. So government बनाते हैं, central government cess petroleum surcharges. This is one example. Same thing about electricity. They put a cess because it's not shareable. So we've got to be a peculiar system by which taxes goes up, they're distorting production and robbing state governments of their resources.
Yeah.
So everything comes under GST regime. It will benefit state government, it will benefit our exports, it will benefit taxpayers, it reduces costs and certainly completely eliminate corruption.
Yeah.
Completely eliminate corruption.
जी सर, एक बड़ा जेनेरिक आर्गुमेंट सरकार देती रही है, मतलब मैं अरुण जेटली साहब के ज़माने से ही बात सुन रहा हूँ कि आप कोई 5 करोड़ की गाड़ी है उस पर टैक्स अलग होगा, और कोई और सामान आप खरीद रहे हैं जिस पे टैक्स कायदे से 5-10% होना चाहिए, तो आप एक जो वेरिएशन लाएंगे 12% से 14%, या उस हिसाब से हम कह सकते हैं, फ़र्ज़ करिए 15% से 18%, तो ये उसमें आपका गैमेट छोटा हो जाएगा, आपका कैनवास छोटा हो जाएगा, और इंट्रिकेसीज जब वहाँ बढ़ेगी जिसको आप कह रहे हैं कि साहब ऐसी बात नहीं आएगी। एक कुछ और एग्जाम्पल देके अगर आप इसको समझा सकें तो बढ़िया रहेगा।
आपने बढ़िया एग्जाम्पल दिया जी। If you want to bring more equity and equality, it should be done through income taxes, not taxes on products and services.
जी.
If you want more equitable income, tax income at higher rate and higher income, tax wealth tax on the wealthy people.
जी.
But this complication hurts the economy. In order to tax, say 10,000 Mercedes-Benz more, you complicate the entire system of our tax system. And India is losing, boss. India is losing exports, India is losing growth, and India is experiencing much larger corruption. And simplicity, and I'm not talking rocket science, that's how the rest of the world does it.
जी.
I'm not saying that India is not so, it's the same planet, no? We are the same planet Earth. बाकी देश करते हैं single rate. Why can't we do it?
सर आपने ब्राज़ील का एग्जांपल दिया, कुछ और देश के एग्जांपल सर, मतलब जो सर हमारा काम है आपके जैसे जानकार लोगों से जानकारी लेना और कॉमन मासेज को समझाना कि साहब जो आप कह रहे हैं उसका ये मतलब होता है। सर 3-4 एग्जांपल ऐसे जानना चाहेंगे जो भारत के बराबर उसी टाइम पे जीएसटी की शुरुआत की, उसी के जैसा नेचर में भी उसी के जैसा टैक्स है, वो हमसे ज़्यादा बेनिफिट वो हो रहे हैं, हम फिर भी बेनिफिट हो रहे हैं, लेकिन ये बेनिफिट की रफ्तार तेज हो सकती है।
अरे हमारे नेबर ले लीजिए, यूएई, यूनाइटेड अरब एमिरेट्स, roughly implemented GST around the same time as we did, maybe few years earlier. They adopted a single rate. And it's booming. So, and let me tell you,
Pawan,
that it will really make impact on small and medium sector. Maximum corruption problems increase the cost to the small and marginal small players, not for big players. Big players can hire accountants, hire lawyers, hire more people. One or two, those are family-owned companies, small organizations, don't have people to look after these complexities of taxes.
जी.
Complexity is penalizes small men. Let me remember. Always remember.
जी.
Complexity penalizes small man, not the big person. So simplify. That's how all the world simplified structure. So GST, अभी भी मैं बोल रहा हूँ. There's one more. If you make single rate, I'll give you one more advantage, which is very important. You will accept only that India is now urbanizing.
जी.
Today, take a city like Ludhiana. मैं बात कर रहा हूँ जब मैं गया था, 10% बात पहले की बात है. Ludhiana has highest number per capita Mercedes-Benz.
जी, बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं, जी.
But 50% of Ludhiana citizens have drainage facilities. So rich city but poor municipality. Now, if you want to do urbanization properly, you must create better cities in terms of public infrastructure. Now, but unfortunately, our municipalities and municipal corporations don't have resources. So what my proposal is that GST should be equally distributed by 3 governments: state, center, and municipal corporations.
Means local units, are you saying?
Local bodies, the elected local bodies. Please underline, I'm underlining the word elected local bodies.
जी.
Because this is a way you could really go to deepen our democracy, deepen our democratic decentralization, which is really what vision all the parties had. If you remember, even BJP manifesto or Congress manifesto always talked about Swaraj at local level. So if you want to give them this kind of power, then they must have access to resources. So this is only innovation I'm proposing: single rate and share equally with all the 3 tiers.
इस बात से एनमर्ड नहीं है आपकी टैक्स कलेक्शन बढ़ रहा है जीएसटी के अंडर, ये आपको खुश करने के लिए केवल ये काफी नहीं है?
नहीं, because we are not giving these resources to a level where we need public goods. Today cities are, you must have gone around, Pawan, you must have traveled more than I do across India. Don't you see the deterioration of cities?
हम्म,
अब हमारे अब राजधानी देखो, दिल्ली
जी,
is getting poorer and poorer public services.
हम्म,
मैं पूना में हूँ, मैं पूना में देख रहा हूँ, पूना में देख रहा हूँ. So
जी.
this is problem. So you have great erosion of public services in cities.
हम्म.
The quality of life is not very good.
सर क्या ये बोल सकते हैं कि हालांकि कहना ज़्यादा आसान है पर फिर भी मैं पूछ के देखता हूँ आपसे कि क्या सर जैसे कहते हैं कि जीएसटी हैज़ बिकम अ बर्डन ऑन द मिडिल क्लास एंड इज़ नो लॉन्गर अ गुड एंड सिंपल टैक्स. इज़ इट सो इजी टू स्पीक लाइक दिस?
No, I think no, it can go back to good and simple tax. And not only that, but I said, if you share it with the third tier, I promise you, Pavanji is going to transform India. It will transform India in small cities, small villages, I mean, small localities. You will get resources where you need. Today, I don't know about where you live in Pune. Many places have no drinking water facilities. Local level, because our municipal corporation don't have resources. Our mohalla schools are languishing. So what I'm saying is, India, if we deepen and widen our progress, we have to have a much better urbanization. That is a tool available to us. ये मैं अर्ज कर रहा हूँ कि आपको
सर जो इस हाँ
बढ़िया टूल है,
जी जी
बहुत बढ़िया पॉलिसी टूल है. उसमें हमारे टूल है. If you can use it, you can really make this country's next phase of development very progressive and high quality of life.
सर इतना बढ़िया सजेशन आप देते हैं, इतना बढ़िया सजेशन दे रहे हैं, मतलब इस देश में जो पॉलिसी मेकर हैं, अभी जो नीति नियंता हैं, पिछले 11 साल से जो सरकार है, सरकार में जो बड़े बड़े लोग जो पॉलिसी फिक्स करते हैं, पॉलिसी देखते हैं, पॉलिसी तय करते हैं, आपके सजेशन पे लास्ट आपकी फ्रूटफुल मुलाकात हुई, क्या वो उनका कोई इंटेंशन दिखता है कि आपकी बात से एग्री करते हैं वो?
You see, ours is a very, very vigorous democratic system. You have to persuade many people have different vested interests, personal interests, ambitions. So it has to navigate. I mean, no, everybody is well intentioned, but still you have to navigate the political process. यहाँ पर हो नहीं सकता कि हमने फरमान दिया दिल्ली से. You have to persuade people, ना? So, but it is, I think, as I mentioned to you, if this country can create GST at the shortest possible time, which is really major change, I think we can go to next step also. If you put our heads together and understand why the people are saying it, and so this is what area I think we can take our progress further, economic progress, and make
so
it
continuous consultation should be on, as you are saying that.
Absolutely. Talk, speak, consult. That's the only solution.
जो इफेक्टिवनेस जो है जीएसटी की पॉलिसी का, सबसे पहले तो ये कि कितना इफेक्टिव है सर. अगर आप उसके स्केल पे 1 से 10 के स्केल पे अगर आप बता पाएंगे तो जीएसटी को जो हमारा अभी प्रेजेंट स्ट्रक्चर है, जो प्रेजेंट जीएसटी का नेचर है, उसको 1 से 10 के स्केल में इफेक्टिवनेस उसकी क्या है और इसमें कितने नंबर देते हैं आप?
नहीं, मैं तो I will not judge from 1 to 10 in that scale. I will mention the spectacular achievements that have been done in terms of IT. I mean, the way the systems that are proposed today, the tax paying make it much easier for even small taxpayers. So to achieve enormous progress to our IT program, it's become far more easier to pay taxes. Second, the tax net is much wider now. There's much less question of black money coming through indirect taxes. It's almost disappearing because tax net is widening. Everybody's become taxpayer now because he can get tax because he can get what you call credit. So he's willing to pay tax because he get the input credit. So compliance is improved. All over India, the compliance is improved. We find many places it is much simpler and better tax. It is become simpler. There's no question. Compared to earlier times, I would say far better now. So, but it is unfortunately we have become our own enemy. If you
जी
simplify,
जी
even further better.
कौन सा ऐसा सेगमेंट है जो सबसे ज़्यादा जो वर्स्ट इफेक्टेड है जीएसटी के कंप्लाइंस करने से, उसके लागू होने के बाद? कोई सेगमेंट है ऐसी सोसाइटी का, फर्ज करिए स्मॉल बिजनेसमैन है, बिग बिजनेसमैन है, मिडिल क्लास वाले?
No, but I don't see any major sector suffering because of GST. But what has suffered, in my view, is the potential gains we could have got for urban finance. And our cities would have been much better if it had. And second, other half, one sector has sufferred because we've not gone complete simplification in our export sector. Even today, exports are still being hustled by this tax credit business. They're not fully reimbursed.
जी सर
Because they don't want a tax credit for electricity or petroleum products, they don't get it. So that is a very important cost in managing exports.
जी
So exports are suffering. If you ask me which sector is suffering most, exports is the most important sector is suffering.
चलिए सर, अब आपने ऐसे विषय पे ले जाके, जीएसटी के आखिरी सवाल पे आपने ऐसे विषय पे ले जाके छोड़ा है सर कि अब जब एक्सपोर्ट्स की बात करते हैं तो हम लोग सर चलते हैं अमेरिका। जब अब बात करें हम लोग यूएस इंडिया टैरिफ की बात करेंगे, सफरिंग्स की बात करेंगे, नए टैरिफ की बात करेंगे। जो लेटेस्ट टैरिफ वॉर चल रहा है सर वर्ल्ड अराउंड, हम अब इंडिया पे बाद में आएंगे। मतलब एक अर्थशास्त्री होने के नाते, एक पॉलिसी मेकर होने के नाते, आप ब्यूरोक्रेट होने के नाते, आप सबसे पहले तो इसको कैसे देखते हैं? कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, बहुत सिंपल है, रिटेलिएटरी है, कैसे देखते हैं सर?
The way you should look at it really from the global politics.
जी
United States has unchallenged number one position since 1945. And it designed a system and procedures which suited essentially the US interest and also global interest.
जी
Noticing it, or maybe they didn't anticipate it, new competitors come on the horizon. The challenge is hegemony. Unfortunately, this is my own assessment. Earlier part of US political system thought that their enemy was socialism in Soviet Union, but it was already defeated. But they could not change their mindset that the real competitor is not Soviet Union, but is rising China. By the time they got woken up, it was too late. It had already become too large for them. So and they started reacting to it. So current tariff war is essentially the tussle between two great powers, and I don't think here. If you want to ask where I'll put my money, I'll put my money on China, because unlike the United States, China has been a centralized state for the last several centuries. So statecraft, they understand much better, and they're much more patient. But the American system doesn't have that kind of long-term vision, and they don't have patience. And in this game,
you are talking about the latest government, or you are talking about the government after government after government?
No, the American the system, the capitalist system,
okay,
doesn't
got
have
it,
that
sir.
kind of horizon as China has. You know, I must tell you, when I visited China first time, I went to, like probably you must have done it, I went to see a Great Wall of China.
Sir, which year it was?
First time I must have gone when I was working in UN, must have been in 90, early 90s.
Early 90s, okay.
So I went to see Great Wall in China. And then this strikes you, right? The क्या civilization है? ये project 300 years they implemented. That means the state has a vision to implement the same project, persisted and created such a long-term project. So that shows the state has long-term vision, long-term, they think long time. And same state capacity is there in China today. So while the United States state capacity of the horizon is not that long, So I think it's going. My bet. I have to bet on this. I'll bet on China, which will finally succeed. For simple reason, they don't think small term. They think long term.
And then the credit goes to Deng Xiaoping.
Not system. Even Deng Xiaoping and Mao also. Mao made a very large mistakes also. But if you remember Long March, what's a Long March? He was looking long term. He took the entire Japanese imperialism he took on to fight. So Deng Xiaoping is the same sort of is the example of the Chinese Mandarin thinking. They think long term. They think of the state. They run the state, complicated states. While you and me belong to civilization, we don't think that long.
आपकी किताब पढ़ी सर, जिसके बारे में हम लोग कल बात करते, रिपब्लिक वाली, आपके साथ अजय शाह ने जिसमें लिखा है, तो उसके पहले पन्ने पर जहाँ तक मुझे याद आता है सर, वो देंग जाओपिंग की लाइन आपने कही ना कि फील द स्टोन्स वाइल क्रॉसिंग द रिवर। तो सर ये लाइन अपने आप में मतलब एकदम दिल को छू जाता है।
करेक्ट, इट्स वेरी वाइज, फुल ऑफ विजडम, लॉन्ग टर्म, दे थिंक लॉन्ग। So current Trump has, I think, not thought through it. I don't think, and because the political pressure, I mean, all short term. Next election next year or 4 years from now, so they think small, very short term.
सर इसका जो टैरिफ वॉर ट्रम्प साहब ने शुरू किया है हमारे इकोनॉमी पे, देखिए सर बहुत फ़र्क है। चाइना की आप बात करते हैं, हम लोग हिंदुस्तान की बात करते हैं। चाइना से ठीक 12 साल बाद हम लोगों ने इकोनॉमिक लिबरलाइजेशन शुरू किया। 79 में उन्होंने किया, 91 में हमने किया, पर हम दोनों में बहुत साल का फ़र्क है चाइना की इकोनॉमी और भारत की इकोनॉमी में। चाइना को छोड़िए, अभी हिंदुस्तान के इकोनॉमी पे आने वाले टाइम में इसका क्या असर देखते हैं, पॉलिटिक्स के हिसाब से और इकोनॉमिक्स के हिसाब से बोथ?
I think our real challenge is internal, not tariff. As I mentioned to you, we penalize our exports and import companies much more own taxation system like GST. If we simplify this, it will help our industry to take any sort of competition. This is the second is our internal problem is our tax administration. In fact, general administration, across the board, our state is not performing to sufficient possibilities. My assessment, our domestic constituencies are problematic, not external constituencies.
Sir, short term nuksan?
No, certain areas we may have to. The our exports will suffer because a lot of uncertainty will be there. But I don't. Short term to hoga exporters ko takleef, and many of our. But we may also gain because number of countries may come to us for especially agricultural products. So we have to be really more exploit the possibility of new export possibility will come up suddenly for us, agriculture, because USA is very large exports of agricultural products. So if that is banned, that is get affected, we have a great opportunity.
सर ट्रंप ने जो नई व्यवस्था शुरू की है उसमें कोई बहुत सरप्राइज़ की बात नहीं थी। जब चुनाव में कैंपेन कर रहे थे तब से वो लगातार बोल रहे हैं। उसके पहले भी गाहे बगाहे भाषणों में 1-2 साल के अब देखेंगे चुनिंदा भाषणों में उन्होंने भी ये बात कही। क्या सर ऐसी इस दुनिया में जहाँ पे ट्रेड वॉर में एक दूसरे हर कंट्री एक दूसरे का गला काटने के लिए तैयार बैठे हैं, क्या WTO नाम की संस्था बेकार हो गई है?
भाई आपने बहुत बढ़िया सवाल किया है। I think it is in India's interest to persuade all the major trading powers to resurrect the WTO with or without USA.
आप ये कह रहे हैं कि हिंदुस्तान को अभी नहीं, पर हम WTO की कद्र करें, सम्मान करें उनका, उनसे मशवरा लें, या हम भी कहेंगे ना आप हमारे किसी काम के नहीं है तो फिर क्या फायदा है ऐसे?
You see, the rule of law always benefits the weaker partners. WTO is a rule of law. Predictive rule of law. Rule of law helps us. Who doesn't? Only the bully who doesn't want rule of law. If you take even आपके घर में देख लीजिए, only mafias don't like rule of law. They bully.
नहीं सर, रूल ऑफ लॉ तो सबको चाहिए, माफिया को भी चाहिए।
नहीं, वो they don't mind without law because they make the law.
लेकिन सर माफिया जब पकड़े जाते हैं तो वो कहते हैं साहब हमें तो ईमानदार जज चाहिए।
No, I know what I'm saying, but the limited point
जी।
I'm making that
जी
strong
जी जी जी।
don't mind the laws because they can look after their interests.
हम्म।
Countries like us require rule of law. We are still rising power. We want rule of law. We want
जी।
predictability. It's India's interest to have a strengthened WTO.
सर क्या इंडिया का वर्ल्ड मैप पे, खासकर इकोनॉमिक्स में, जब आपने इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड की हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं, नया रोल पॉलिटिक्स के हिसाब से इकोनॉमिक्स में, इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड में इंडिया को नए रोल निभाने चाहिए, निभाने का स्कोप है, निभाने की नीयत है हमारी?
We have both credibility and now economic heft to like-minded countries like Korea, Vietnam, Indonesia, Japan. I'm talking all Asian countries, or rising African countries, Nigeria, South Africa. Bring them together along with some of the European countries. Come back to rule of law in the trade, and I think because we by and large have follow the rule of law. I'm not saying to just become Indian, but
Yes.
India has a good reputation that by and large we follow rule of law in international. We don't like to break law.
सर इंडो पैसिफिक में सर जहाँ पे भारत और चीन जैसी दो बड़ी इकोनॉमीज टकरा रही हैं, ऐसे में WTO में चाइना को साइड लाइन करके इंडिया कोई बड़ा रोल अख्तियार करेगा, इसके कितने चांस हैं?
We should not sideline China. I think China should be in WTO. It's a large market. India can get in that market.
जी।
I don't think we should sideline China. We should cooperate with them. Economic cooperation is very important, and that's a large market. And but they must also follow the rule of law. As long as they follow the rule of law, I think knowing our India and our people, if the game is fair, we can play the game. And even if we lose, I don't think people mind it because we play fair. But in fair game, India will win. We have enough entrepreneurship, hardworking people, skills, capabilities that will win the fair game. I have no doubt in my mind.
अच्छा सर, इंडिया एंड यूएस आर डिस्कसिंग अ बायलैटरल ट्रेड डील नाउ सर. डू यू थिंक दैट अ सक्सेसफुल डील विल हेल्प रिजॉल्व द इश्यूज, या आपको लगता है कि मतलब उसमें कुछ दम नहीं है, मतलब अभी अमेरिका से निगोशिएट करने का कोई फायदा नहीं है?
We should be always available to negotiate. We should be always available to negotiate, and we can always do whatever concession we give to the US. We should give to all the countries what they call MFN treatment. That we're not going to exclude it to them. We suppose we don't liberalize. I'm just giving an example. Say trade in aircrafts. We're reducing duties in aircraft. We should give all the countries. So that we should always negotiate. I don't think we never should hesitate to negotiate.
वेदर बायलैटरल और मल्टीलैटरल?
Yeah, absolutely. We just
सर आप
persuade Americans to come to multilateral. Persuade them to come to WTO. Persuade them. But we should not afraid to negotiate with them.
अच्छा सर, टैरिफ के नए रेट पे हालांकि मैं थोड़ा सा उसमें इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ में घुस रहा हूँ, आपने मना किया था कि साहब ऐसा है, मैं स्टैटिस्टिक्स पे नहीं बात करेंगे, बट ठीक है, एनीवे जानना चाहिए सर, इसमें स्ट्रक्चरल इश्यूज पे जानना चाहेंगे कि क्या नए टैरिफ लागू होने के बाद हमारे इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ शॉर्ट टर्म में और लॉन्ग टर्म में ज़्यादा प्रभावित होंगे क्या? ये लगता है मामूली थोड़ा बहुत 0.5% का फ़र्क पड़ेगा?
Yeah, if this high tariff remain, then of course it will hurt India. But I don't believe they'll remain. The countries are, because they all taxes act of self-harm for the United States. And sooner or later they will realize the self-harm and you will find cooling down, and tariffs will go back to more reasonable levels and India will gain.
आज सर आपके जैसे कुछ लोग बोलते हैं सर कि ट्रंप का टारगेट और दूसरी इकोनॉमीज़ हैं जहां से ट्रेड डेफिसिट उनका बहुत ज़्यादा है, हिंदुस्तान तो बेवजह मतलब निशाने पे आ गया है, एक्चुअल टारगेट हिंदुस्तान है नहीं, क्या इस बात से एग्री करते हैं?
I think so, because their main target is China. If you ask me, we are the what they call the unintended victims.
जी जी
So that's the reason I'm saying we should not be afraid to negotiate with them. But our concern with them should be to give to all the trading partners. We should not just give to them. If you reduce tariff, we should tariff to everybody. As they say, MFN basis.
जी जी
We should maintain our commitment to MFN principle.
सर आप जैसे हम लोग बात करते हैं कल की खबर है जब चाइना ने कहा है कि साहब वैसा है कि बोइंग से हम किसी भी किस्म का लेन देन बंद कर देंगे। सर ऐसे में जब एक देश आज कुछ अनाउंस कर रहा है, एक देश का मतलब साइनोशोर तो आप समझिए अमेरिका ही है, और चाइना रिटेलिएट कर रहा है, यूरोपियन यूनियन फिर कहता है वो भी रिटेलिएट करेगा, तो ऐसे में अगले शॉर्ट टर्म हम 2 क्वार्टर्स की बात करते हैं सर कि 2 क्वार्टर में जो इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड आपको लगता है कि कहाँ एस्केलेट करके कहाँ जाएगा, नंबर 1। नंबर 2 सर जियो इकोनॉमिक्स में इस टैरिफ वॉर का क्या इम्पैक्ट आप देखते हैं?
I think short term trade levels will go down globally. There's no question about it.
जी
Countries will trade less.
जी
And geoeconomics would be if people believe that it will be sustained, then everybody will start to look inwards, unfortunately. And then everybody will suffer. Post-war, everybody gained because they traded with each other. And trade is always non-zero-sum game. Both the parties gain. So this trade means people are going to lose. I mean, it's by definition. Because trades are always help both the parties. Then only you trade. All voluntary exchange benefit both. But if suddenly curb voluntary exchange, then people will suffer. There's no, I mean, there's absolutely, I totally agree with you. But I don't think it will last that long. Because I still have a greater faith in American system of government. There are checks and balances. System will realize that they're overdoing it. There will be pressure on present administration to change its direction domestically. It will come to political process, through Congress, through elections. Remember, it's also a federal system. Pressure may come from the states. You must have seen that because of his action versus Canada, people in bordering states are suffering. They're going to shout. Canada, do you know that Canadian electricity is most important for supply of Michigan state, which is next door? Canada says we are going to put export tariff on our electricity. So naturally, the people from Michigan and other states will shout, what's happening? You saw the report that suddenly transportation to Alaska, they put taxes. The Canadians put taxes. So the American system, the democratic system, will have to respond. There will be pressure. Okay, so I don't think this is going to last that long, frankly, if you ask me.
अच्छा सर, one last question as far as international trade is concerned, that how can India leverage its economic strength to play a more significant role in global, I would say, economic governance?
I think India has to improve our trade policy, become much more, reduce our own tariff levels. Because if you remember, Bajpayee ji and Manmohan Singh ji's regime, they systematically reduced high tariff rate to bring in lower tariff. That was reversed around 2016, I think, if I remember correctly. We should go back to that era of planned reduction of tariff rates. So that it's predictable, people can take investment decisions. Everybody will be encouraged that we should come here, promote domestic competition. We are, many places, our competition commission is very weak. It's allowing monopolies to be created by some oligarchy, by oligarchy kind of entrepreneurs. So we have to make our domestic system far more competitive. Our competition commission is totally weak. It has to be empowered. And, if you remember, the Federal Trade Commission in the United States is a very powerful commission. We require competition commission much more powerful. Domestic competition we have to promote. And finally, we have to really go back and strengthen both later and the spirit, cooperative federalism. India is a federal country. It's a union of state. Our constitution first line, if you remember, is union of state, isn't it? Isn't that the first line of our constitution? India's union state. Am I right, Pawan?
Yes, sir.
Am I right that one of the first two para mein hai our constitution that India is
Union of State. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
that I think we have forgotten. We have to strengthen that federalism.
yes, sir.
That's very important.
Sir, last two questions. Yes.
Yeah, no, sorry.
कुछ कह रहे थे सर.
No, that's what I said. Our large problem is internal, our domestic constraints.
The reforms that are needed in our economy, and the other is one question I will ask in the last is on climate change. That what are the reforms that are needed urgently, sir? Which government should have actually taken up? The government which has very bigger majority in both the two terms. So, what further reforms do you think are necessary to improve India's business environment and attract more foreign investment?
Pawan, the first place I start with farm laws. Farming. Agriculture still provides a very important source of income in a vast area of our country. The farm laws are good laws, but it was not the consultation didn't take place with the state government, which resumed that consultation. Get those through. So reform agriculture, which is a great step. It also builds up federalism and the confidence. And other is the simplified tax system. GST reform, I'm telling you, will give tremendous boost to India's both manufacturers and exports. The second is my favorite topic is GST reforms.
Mm-hmm.
Then and also share it with the local bodies so that you can get better urban public goods. That's India growth will take place to cities, and for that cities has to have better infrastructure. For that they have the resources. So and that will real deepen our democracy also with elected corporations, elected local bodies. So that is second very important reform in my view. And third is education system. Education.
Right.
Because we have to upgrade our skills in the new world and deepen and widen our skill base.
So, job creation and employability are you talking about?
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
My wife has been teacher in Delhi. Now she was student counselor in Delhi in school, in Air Force Bal Bharati school. And since then she has been saying that we are not creating skills. And what she said that time still is valid. We're still not creating required skills.
Sir, who is responsible, sir, that we have not helped people creating skills? We have not helped creating better education climate in the country. Employability is down, skill set is down. How do we balance it, sir?
I think large blame will have been taken by people like me, who have been a part of ruling elite of India. We just didn't concern ourselves with these issues. So we have to really blame our elite that they neglected the area like skill farming, because we went to good school, our children went to good school, so we didn't adequately sensitive to deepening the skill base. This is where China scored. Are
you hopeful of creating some kind of revolution as far as education is concerned?
I think there is awareness across the board. I can see that. There is awareness coming now. I mean, all the people are actually demanding, it has become a political demand now. In that sense, the Right to Education Act was a very good act. It has also sensitized the demand for better education everywhere. Now, it is people have access and everybody is getting sensitive. So I think there is a demand from below now for better education. If you ask to any child, any parent now, you can do any place in India, any place, any state. Education. That's all they will ask for.
अच्छा, हमारा सर इन्वेंशन ख़राब है, हमारी डिस्कवरीज ख़राब हैं, हमारा R&D ख़राब है, वहाँ इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं है। मतलब खाली एजुकेशन दे भी देंगे तो जब तक एक कल्चर डेवलप नहीं होगा, टेम्परामेंट नहीं है सर, तो कैसे आप इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ में शिरकत कर सकेंगे?
I don't agree with you. If you create human capital, I will unbeatable. Today have a quality of human capital is no good, not good. R&D पे आ जाएगा बाद में R&D तो पहले we have to improve education. I'm talking about quality of the education, not
जी
just quantity, not just quantity. That's a basic step, and that's what everybody did. If you look at Japanese,
So, are you advocating for private participation or are you advocating for the government funding, much more and more money?
government funding with private participation, government should not itself create school.
Both are okay.
But they can support it, no? Give a resource, get a scholarship for deserving students. That they can give
जी
number of scholarships.
हम्म
Very talented students can't go because there's no money. They end up doing something but they're much capable of doing something else.
सर पीपीपी पे जब बात करते हैं तो मुझे आपको जब मैं पढ़ता हूँ देखता हूँ तो मुझे बहुत याद आता है पीपीपी का बड़ा मतलब आपने उसको प्रमोट किया, उसको एडवोकेट किया, उसके फ़ायदे भी 10 जगह देखे गए, 10 सेक्टर्स में देखे गए। क्या वो समय आ गया जब हम पूरी तरह से इस निष्कर्ष पे पहुंच सकते हैं कि पीपीपी इस देश में सफल है, पीपीपी फेल हो गया है या अभी भी एक्सपेरिमेंट के स्टेज में है?
No, it's still in the stage of making. You can't say it's failed. The number of areas it has been successful. The most spectacular example is really our roads. All over India now, the road network, very large amount has come through PPP. So I think it has been, large project has been successful. And we can learn from that.
कि जब हम इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ और डेवलपमेंट की बात करते हैं तो डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड का फ़ायदा हमको मिलेगा या हमारे लिए केवल एक रेटोरिक के बराबर है?
नहीं, next 15 years, 20 years, we have advantage. When we get good policy, we can still grow at 8 to 10% per annum. And India will indeed become Viksit Bharat. India will become potentially Viksit Bharat. It has still a potential. But it's disappearing very rapidly. Every day we delay it, it's disappearing. Because unfortunately, as somebody said, the arrow of time goes in one direction.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया केलकर साहब।